Welcome to The Breeze. This is episode 2 of Catching the Curveball. Today we have an exciting episode at hand with Ontario Christian Battery, Luke Ballantyne, and Nicholas Whippo. Thank you all for taking the time to listen to the podcast here on The Breeze. My name is Anthony Collazo, joined by ace pitcher Luke Ballantyne.
What's up?
And Nicholas Whippo.
What's up?
How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm awesome.
I'm doing good myself. Thank you guys for taking the time to do this podcast.
No problem.
So this is your guys' senior year, 4 years playing on varsity. How's the team shaping up compared to the previous 3 years?
You know, this team, I would say we're not as experienced as the last 3 teams we played on. We got a lot of young guys coming up this year. 2 freshmen that are going to be playing a lot this year, Hunter and Cohen, that are probably going to be contributing a lot to the team this year. It's just the fact of our team has a lot of upside, and we're hoping to capture that upside, you know. Our team's got a lot of potential, you know what I mean?
Luke?
Yeah, I agree with Whippo. I think, our team has a lot of potential. I think we have certain holes, but I think over the course of the season, I think we'll fill them.
So, on the playing side of things, you guys are saying that you have a lot of upside, some holes. So, I want to dig into a little bit more of the chemistry side of things on the team. You know, you can have a great team, but at the end of the day, if you don't have good chemistry, it's not a good team. So,
Yeah, for sure.
how do you think the chemistry shapes up this year?
Personally, I think this is the closest our team's ever been. We don't really have any disagreements on the team this year. You know, last year that's been a problem in the past. You know, everybody really gets along on this team. It really shows on the field. We are all playing as a team. We're not playing as a bunch of individuals like we have in past years.
I agree. I think the key to having good chemistry is having teammates who are unselfish and being able to play for the team. That unselfish behavior allows these players to play in a lot of different roles, and I think that makes them overall better players, but also it helps the team.
And I think that helps the team overall a lot, especially with the morale. We saw, not to name names, but players from previous years who would either think that they're better than the team or they just play for themselves.
Yeah.
We had a teammate last year on the bus, and I can hear him saying, "I don't care that we lost. I played good." And in my mind, I'm like, dude, how can you think that way?
Yeah, especially for me as a person that hates losing more than anything. I just can't imagine, saying that, oh, I don't care that we lost, that I played good. Like, even games that I play good in and we lose, I'm pissed off on the car ride home because I'm mad that our team didn't get it done. And even though, I contributed in a certain way, I guess that I should have tried to do more to try to get the team the victory.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think it's frustrating to play on a team where people are only thinking about themselves, because not only do mistakes happen, but when they do, the players that think that way are only focused on their mistakes, and it ends up toppling down the whole team, which really hinders the fun of the game and also the successes.
Whippo, you mentioned that you guys have a lot of inexperienced players. So
Yeah.
what is it going to be like playing with a bunch of new players on the team this year?
It's going to be a little tough. There's a little bit of a learning curve. You can see, we're kind of off a little bit, and just tiny bit on some situational type plays. Players don't know quite where they're supposed to be, but we've been working through that at practice and everything. It's been getting a lot better. It's been shown in the games that we're having better situational awareness, some would say, during the games. And, everybody's being where they're supposed to be, and which is helping. And a lot of the upperclassmen are helping show those unexperienced players, what should be done and everything on the field.
Yeah, and I think it provides a lot of opportunity for the future, because you can mold and shape these new athletes into being players that other people would want to play with as well.
I'll tell you what, having you two guys taking the helm of the captaincy this year, it's the perfect year, because you guys, as you guys said twice now, that you guys have a bunch of new players, a bunch of inexperienced guys, and there's no better 2 captains to take the helm of these guys than you two. So I just want to ask, how is it being a captain? Because some players don't like having to take lead and take charge, because that's just not their type of personality. So how has that been like for you two?
So for me, especially last year, being a captain last year, I kind of hated it. I'm going to be honest, because I'm not a more big social person. I'm not a big speaker. I won't get in guys' face and stuff like that. And that was hard last year, kind of feeling like the one that was just watching and trying to lead by example. But this year my main goal has been trying to step it up in the vocal category and being more of a leader on the field, especially as the catcher. And, I feel like I've really improved in the vocal setting and trying to be a better leader on the field.
I think it presents some good opportunities, again, to, mold these players. I don't want to play with players that are selfish, and so to be able to be a captain and have the power to talk to these kids and make sure that they're acting the correct way on and off the field is a good thing. I think that's a important role.
The season starts on Saturday. You guys start at Paloma Valley. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are both of you guys for the season?
I'm excited. I'd say actually about 10. I'm really excited for the season. Senior season, I've been looking forward to it for a while. And especially playing with a bunch of new guys, it's going to be fun. And with a tough schedule, too, with tough teams in our league like Aquinas and Arrowhead, it's going to be tough, but those are the type of games I live to play for.
Yeah, for me, it's gonna be about a 5 out of 10. It's a little rough because for the last couple of months I've been battling some elbow injury, and so to not be able to end that season of my life going into the season, it's hard to be excited for that. I know I lack the ability to help my team in that area, and that this is the battery of OC, and so to know that one of the pitchers is out is it's probably something good for another team to hear. And so for me, I'm hoping that I can channel my energy towards hitting and doing something on that end, but that's as excited I am.
I remember last year, I was super pumped for the season to start. Obviously, I thought the team we had last year was going to go head-to-head with a lot of other teams, especially in Division 3. That didn't exactly happen the way I think any of us really planned. But, you live in and you learn from those type of experiences. Now you guys are playing in Division 4. So if you guys do make the playoffs this year, then you guys would have a better chance of winning the whole thing, which is cool in a sense.
Yes.
You don't want to be in a lower division per se, but being able to at least know that you guys have a better chance, if that makes sense, it's cool. Do you guys play again at San Manuel Stadium? We played there last year against Aquinas. How excited are you guys to face Aquinas again, a top 30 team in the country in front of a crowd like San Manuel?
I'm excited, you get to, and especially since that game's recorded too and put on social media, it's a great opportunity to show that we can hang with these teams and we'll put up a good battle with them. And that especially some of our key players that are going off to other schools and stuff that show that they can hang with the big D1 guys and they'll put up good battles against them.
Assuming that I am ready to play at that part of the season, it's a really cool opportunity to get your name out there because this is a very popular team. There's a lot of people who know about this team, know who they're playing, and to be able to play at a minor league stadium is almost close to playing in the minor leagues because you're playing against a team that is a very elite, and to be able to prove yourself against a team like that, it's a good feeling.
You guys talk about a lot competing with this team, competing, staying in it. Well, the previous 2 years before last year, Ontario Christian has actually beat Aquinas twice. You beat them in your guys' freshman year, and then again in your guys' sophomore year.
Yep.
Would you guys say those are probably your favorite wins in your high school career, or would you guys think of a win that's on top of that?
I'd say it's in the top. I'd say it's at the top of my list, but it's not number one. Number one would for me obviously be our win in sophomore year against Woodcrest, walk-off win.
For sure.
That for me was just the most fun game of baseball I've ever played in high school, and I don't know to be honest, if one's going to top that. Because we've been John with that team since me and Luke's freshman year. We've had a little bit of history with that team, and just to beat them at our field after they tried to run our name into the gutter at their field, it's the best feeling ever.
Yeah, to be able to experience a team rivalry at such high intensity is really awesome, and to be able to beat the team and obviously win in that scenario is even better. So I'd say that Woodcrest game is definitely my top favorite game I've probably ever played as far as energy. And that win against Aquinas I felt was just very earned. I think that it was a lot of pieces coming together. That's a good win too. It's one we'll remember.
Let's talk about that game versus Woodcrest for a second. That team just consistently jawed at us. They talked a lot of crap. So going into that game at the time, we thought that if we beat them, because we were already in playoffs at that point, but now it was to prove a point that if we beat this team at the time, we thought that we kicked them out of playoffs and that they would not make the playoffs. So if you guys remember correctly, I was up to bat when we walked it off, and I don't think I've ever in my life have been more nervous. I would rather, I don't know, I would rather tightrope across New York City than relive that moment. I was up there having to execute a suicide squeeze, and the first baseman and third baseman I thought were breathing on me. And just in my mind, I'm like, I need to either like push this right back to the pitcher, because if it goes to the corners, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
And so when he threw that wild pitch, I mean, that was the biggest like bailout moment of my life. That was crazy. So last year, Linfield Christian, who is in the Ambassador League with you guys, beat us 2 out of 3. And according to one of the former coaches, one of the guys said on Linfield, how did they beat us one time? Is there a chip on your guys' shoulder going into this series next year, knowing that one of their guys said that, and are you guys trying to prove a point?
Of course. This is the type of things you live for in sports. Like, why else would you play the game if you don't want to win these type of games? You know, I just feel like I always want to play with a chip on my shoulder just to prove points to those people that want to run their mouth and show them why they shouldn't run their mouth.
That's good. I don't think I can top that, but I'm not going to lie. Linfield is they're a team that decided to pick a fight with the beast, and I think regardless of the size of our players or the talent of our players, I think the heart of our players is there for that game.
I want to ask, I asked this on my last podcast with Joe, what are you guys' favorite high school baseball memories on and off the field? Whippo, you talked about the Woodcrest game a little bit. If you can give me maybe another game or another moment from your high school career, what would you say that is?
You know, I've got a couple. So, first one that comes off my head is our win in the Santa Ana Elks tournament last year. We went undefeated and beat a real good team in the finals, you know, with a great pitching performance by Joe, all-around great team win. That a team that went very far in the playoffs the year before against some great teams. You know, that's definitely one of the top of my list. But, like, overall, I'd say my whole sophomore year was probably the best, most fun baseball I've ever played. You know, we played on a team that was, even though I didn't play as great as I wanted to that year, especially with the bat, I just had so much fun playing that year on a team that all the guys there were there to compete, and we were a good team that year. A lot of high-energy players, and that was the year we played Woodcrest and beat Aquinas the one time, you know, and we were a little chippy with other teams, and, you know, that's what's fun about baseball is you can be chippy with other teams, and, like, it's amazing when you pull out the victories against them.
Yeah, for me, my freshman year, my second game I ever pitched, I threw 5 innings against Woodcrest. 11 strikeouts was that, and that was, as a freshman, put in this moment where our starting pitcher actually got injured. And so I, with very little warm-up, came out here and shut them down. And the reason, you know, this is very memorable is because, again, our team the first 3 years has been very chippy. And Woodcrest this year, this game, very chippy. They could tell I was having fun. I mean, I was out there, I was smiling around, and all I could hear from the sidelines or the dugout is, oh, nice smile. Ooh, wow, nice smile. And, you know, it feels good to shove it in their face a little bit.
Woodcrest had a very chippy team during that time. I mean, I couldn't believe, like, some of the things that they were saying and doing.
Oh, yeah.
That was allowed. But it makes sense.
Yes.
The coach was there for a very long time.
Right.
And he produced some great teams
Yes.
out of that school. So I guess it makes sense. So this is kind of like a reverse question. What would you guys say? I have a feeling what you're going to say, Whippo, but the worst high school memory.
Oh, this is a tough one. Well, not tough.
one.
Tough to bring. No, I mean tough to bring up. It's an easy one off the top of my head. You know, this is probably the worst baseball moment I've had in my entire life. I didn't even talk at school the whole day. The whole next day after that. So we were in the 9th inning. I remember it very vividly. I see it all the time in my head. It's like the worst thing ever. So we were playing against this Aquinas team, having a chance to sweep the series against them, we're in the 9th inning. It's tied, and their bases loaded. There's a chopper hit to the third baseman. We come home for first. You know, I get the out at the plate and just absolutely sail Han about 15 feet over his head into right field. And all I remember is just like thinking, wow, I totally just blew this game for our team. When we just had a chance to sweep the best team that I've probably ever played before. And what sucks is I see pictures of it on Instagram, and just seeing me walking with my head down back to the dugout is like the worst feeling ever. You learn from those type of things. Like, I remember Tyler and Talon went and picked up the ball, and I remember I asked for it after the game, and that ball sits on my nightstand, and I look at it all the time to remember, like, kind of the worst moment I've ever had, but, like, how I built off of that since then.
I'm not going to lie, and as a witness, this was not a bang-bang play. So to make this worse for him, the guy on first thought he just walked off the game and decided not to sprint to first.
He was walking to first base.
Very weird situation there. And then you could have caught the ball, juggled it a few times, and then threw it.
Yeah.
And you rushed it, and then you just failed it. So that was devastating.
Yes.
And I agree.
Had you not even thrown it, I think you were still in the inning, aren't we?
Yeah, I think it would have been 2 outs.
It would have been 2 outs. You could have ran and tagged him.
Yeah.
It's all right. You know, there's a lot of things we can redo. I mean, for me, one of my worst moments going into was it a sophomore year? We played Norco. Going into my sophomore year, you know, I'm just thinking I'm the guy now. You know, seniors left. I'm now the ace as a sophomore. Lefty throwing 81, thinking I'm big. You know, I'm big throwing 81. You know, we're about to play Norco, who has a shortstop who we thought at the time was going to get drafted. You know, on top of that, they've got a D1 catcher. Grant Gray was also there, right? Yep. So he's their second baseman or center fielder. Either way, you got these top guys, and of course, lefty Luke over here. You know, I'm the guy. So I'm going to start that game. And unfortunately, our teammates, who are also friends with these Norco players, love to hype up anyone but themselves. So not only are they telling Norco that I am the greatest and honestly God's gift to baseball, they're also telling me that Norco has 3 guys who are God's gift to baseball. And so going out there, you know, I'm thinking, well, this is going to be the decider between the two big guys. And I go out there and over the fence. That's number 1. Not going to lie, got shelled, all right? Coming out of this first inning, not very good. I think I'd given up probably 3 runs already.
Yeah.
It was tough. You know, I knew what I got myself into, but you know, I'm a big dog. I can get 3 more innings out of this, right?
Just to add on to this, you know, I knew it was going to be bad when the first pitch he threw was an outside fastball about
perfect dot.
3 inches off the plate, and it gets smoked off the right center field wall. I was like, wow, we're going to be in for it this game.
That was a rude awakening. I remember that game being so hyped up by players that were also friends with a lot of players from Norco. And it was opening day, so how can you not be like pumped about it? I don't even blame them. And the first pitch he throws is just a rocket to right center field. And I remember looking at Eric Rodriguez at the time, who played with us, and he looked at me and just laughed. That was like okay, we're going to get smoked this game.
Yep.
That was rough. So after the first inning, I'm thinking this is going to be tough, but we're going to get it done. Going into the second inning, same result. So we got pulled, and after giving up 2 home runs, probably the worst I've ever felt from a pitching thing. I sat down, got a little teary to my eyes, but you know, moment passed. All right, we were done with that.
So let's go on to happier times. So you two are committed to Biola.
Mm-hmm.
What was that decision process, and how excited are you guys to get to play with each other in college?
You know, for me, the decision process is pretty easy. For one, that was my only offer, but I felt like that was a school I really wanted to go to. And that was that was really the only school I was trying to get offered by. Because I felt like God has been putting Biola in my life for so long. And I feel like he's been trying to push me to go there to where, like, because I wanted to wait a little bit after I got offered to, like, see if any would come in. But, like, I've just finally made that decision because I felt like he's been trying to push that in my life for so long. And especially knowing so many alumni and being connected through PFA with a bunch of alumni. And even my catching coach, Justin Doherty, who used to coach there, it just like kind of felt like it was leading me there the whole time.
You know, me as a high velo throwing lefty, it's easy to wonder why I didn't choose to go into a D1 arena. And I'm not tooting my own horn to say that's not an opportunity, but to say that Biola isn't the right place for me is dumb. And to say that there's not the same talent at a D2 school than a D1 school is dumb. Because looking at like a player like Whippo who didn't necessarily have a bunch of offers, like Whippo is no slouch. And this is a guy who I've seen take the greatest at-bats I've ever seen in person. And this is a guy who he puts the bat on ball and he hits it hard. And even to face him as a pitcher, he's on my own team. Like it's not an easy task. And it takes a lot of time to be able to work a hitter like him. To see that he committed to a D2 and didn't have that many offers, it's hard to look at some of these D1 guys and think, like, what is it that they're doing that, like, Whippo isn't doing? And a lot of it is just name, exposure, and partly fame. And I think sometimes it's raw talent, and I think that if you're good enough to play, that's what's going to help you make that decision on where you're going to go. And then secondly, D1s tend to recruit a lot later. And so as far as the decision process for me, I didn't want it to linger. I wanted to be able to commit in an earlier time frame, and I didn't want to have to worry about committing during season or anything like that. What's funny is I've received some talk, at least from a coach, that like a school like Pepperdine, who 4 weeks to a month after I commit, calls up my coach and says, "Hey, I heard you have a guy." And had they reached out to me earlier, maybe that's a place I would go.
So, especially talking about how Luke's was just saying about the late reach out by Pepperdine, my decision to Biola was also easy because I didn't want to be someone's second choice
100%.
and be the person that they had to resort to. I liked that I was Biola's first choice. That they reached out to me and they wanted me. They really pushed on for me hard, and they were trying to get me, which I really liked, and I didn't feel like I was their second choice. Where like a school like another D1 that would try to come get me, I'd be their second choice because they didn't get the guy that they wanted.
Yeah, and I think lastly, part of my decision is I want to play pro baseball in the future, and to have a school like Biola that has a draft history is important to me.
I believe your pitching coach, Bobby O'Neill, also went to Biola and was drafted. So the fact that it all comes full circle like that is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Our former teammates, Ryan Hahn, also plays at Biola. How excited are you guys to be able to play with him again?
For me, it's really special because I've known Han since I was about 8 years old. Me and Han used to play Little League together, and all I remember is he was just the biggest Little Leaguer I feel like I've ever seen in my life. Like, no joke, he was like 6 foot and at 10 years old. It's really cool to be playing with him in college now because it started in Little League. We were good friends in Little League, and then moved on to high school where we got to play 3 years together, and then it's going to move on to college, which is a really cool experience.
Yeah, having a teammate like that in a place that's going to be new for us is 100% awesome. And, Han's a good person, and he's a good teammate, and he's one of those guys that he doesn't just have the talent to play there and not care. He works hard, and he wants to be able to make a difference, and wants to be able to make a difference in the future, and that's important.
You guys love to deny this, but I think everyone who is around you guys know it's true. And you guys can say whatever you want, or you can give an honest answer. You guys do have a bit of a rivalry. You guys try to one-up each other. If you guys do something good, the other guy always has to one-up. Especially at the lunch table last year, or whatever. I remember an example of Luke pitching really well at Aquinas, or versus Aquinas. And Whip loves to say, "My framing is the reason why you won that game." How fun and annoying can that be, even though you guys are best friends?
Yeah, I really hate the dude. He's the least favorite person I've ever met, and I think it's closer to a relationship with like a brother. I have a brother who's 4 years older than me, and there's not a time that I don't fight with him, and it's not because like I'm angry with him or because we're actually at something different. It's just because it's fun. And to mess with each other in that way is just kind of I think it's a special thing between us. I think partly through that battery, just the kind of title, I think we have something through sports, and I think we have something on the side of sports as well. I think me and Whippo, we go fishing, we play video games together. Like, there's not a part of my life where I think Whippo couldn't fit in. And so I think fortunately I think that's cool to have someone in my life who I can do that with. And I think because I do everything with this person, I'm a competitive person. I think I got to beat him. And to beat him means that he's going to want to beat me. Yep. And that's going to make us better in general. And I think that's a cool thing about our relationship.
Yeah. Like, to bounce off that, I wouldn't say it's a rivalry either. When you have two of the most probably competitive people you will meet that hate losing more than anything, when you put them two together, it's gonna get pretty competitive. And I felt like that's made us better athletes that always want to compete with people and don't want to ever back down and never give up. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that.
That's crazy.
I said never back down and never give up.
Never back down, never what?
So I was curious, who squats more between you two?
I think Whippo does.
I do.
How much do you squat?
455 in December.
I think I did 405. Just to add, a little bit of that rivalry that you're about to see right here. I was going light. I'm going to say that. I'm going to pull that card. But regardless of that, I would like to next go into our vertical jump. Because my vertical jump is 37.5 inches for approach vert. And I would like to ask Whippo what his vertical is.
As someone that is vertically challenged like myself, it's really tough to get up there. Did you say approach vertical?
Yes.
See, I barely pulled out a 30. Barely pulled out a 30. So, that's pretty good for a person like myself who's not, the greatest athlete.
As one of our teammates says, I have a lot of explosivity. Not a word, by the way.
Shout out to Hunter Addy.
Yep.
Last podcast with Joe Regan, I mentioned a story that happened at a practice. Not an official practice, but we were just out there for fun. I believe it was me, Joe, Whippo, and Noah. And me and Joe were trying to rob home runs in right field. And our field is only 300 feet to right. And there's a big net behind it. So it's very hard to put one over that net. And Whippo found a way with a fungo to put one over the net and sink one straight into a car's window. So I want to know your perspective from that story. Because we only got me and Joe's last podcast. And we were pretty much in the same spot. So what was your perspective of hitting that ball, watching it fly, and then hearing just a window shatter?
So some backstory on this. Me and Noah were trying to try a new strategy of hitting fungos. We were doing the Happy Gilmore strategy at first. And we were just hitting balls off the net. And I wanted to see how it compared to my normal swing. So this is the only normal swing I took. And I just remember throwing the ball up and hitting it and telling Noah, wow, I hit that ball good. And I see it fly over the net and straight into the car window. And I just remember my heart dropping because I was like, oh no, I'm going to get in trouble with the school. There's going to be a lawsuit or something. All the worst case scenarios are going through my head. We were about to get jumped by the guy across the street type of thing. But luckily enough, somehow Sal is friends with this guy because he's friends with everybody if you know Sal. He just knows everybody. But it was an expensive little accident for my pocket.
Luke, what is one of your favorite memories that was outside of maybe a practice, an official practice, or an official game? Maybe when we were out on the field by ourselves, or maybe even in school.
Oh, this is a phenomenal question because you just set me up. I'm going to plug my March Madness. This is what our school does. You have 4 teams, all right? You cultivate a team from each of the classes. Senior year, junior year, sophomores, and freshmen. They each have a team. In this tournament, by the way, they're all volunteers. In this tournament, you are set up, and it's juniors versus freshmen, seniors versus sophomores. Just before this game, on Sunday, I decided I was going to play horse with my dad. And that was going to be the only practice that I do for this March Madness game. My dad beats me, and I'm feeling good. And so we're going into March Madness. The whole school is in this gym. When you walk into this against this freshman team,
it's real chippy.
It is real chippy. Not only are the freshmen who are annoying, it's loud. It's really loud, and it's wow.
And they are legitimately good at basketball.
They are good at basketball because the rules are that if you're on varsity, you cannot play in this tournament. But guess what? Turns out a lot of freshmen are on JV, which apparently means that they're allowed to play. That's a broken rule. In this gym, there are 300 kids looking at my team while we are warming up. During this warm-up, I miss every single shot.
Same. I bricked every single
shot. So I decide, game plan is to pass. We're going to be passing. Time for jump off. Everyone's looking around. Who's going to jump? Whippo. No, because it's the vertical.
I was the starting center, by the way.
They won the tip-off, but we ended up acquiring the ball. I think Luque hit it. Our team acquired the ball, and they passed to me. I have the ball. This is the first play of the game. All right, I'm taking 3 steps past the half-court line, and I am just overtaken by just overwhelming need to shoot. Boom. The shot is taken. And in slow-mo, this ball travels closer and closer and closer. Splash. Directly into to the net. It was awesome. There was a pause in the gym, and then
There was a pause in the gym because it was a stupid shot.
it was a stupid shot. I am not afraid to say it. There is no reason why I should have shot that shot, but it was unbelievable.
The best part about him making that shot is, for one, he was wearing a hat on the basketball court. And I don't know what idiot wears a hat on the basketball court. And all I see is him, and I turn around and I see him shoot it. I'm thinking, what is he doing? And I see him splash it, look straight at the defender, and fix his hat. Which was like the most subtly disrespectful celebration I think I've ever seen.
Throughout this game, Luke is the main force of offense, scoring two threes, a contested layup, and then free throws. And that was 10 of the 12 points that we scored.
You played it the best game of the tournament, probably. Like, if you guys were to win that game and then win in the finals, I mean, it was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Last question. Last podcast, Joe said that he was never recording you during the bus crash.
Oh my gosh.
And he was actually reading lyrics off his phone because he felt dumb that he didn't know the lyrics. So, what is your reaction to that?
You know, it was a big shocker to me as the person that was sitting next to him thinking that I was being recorded. And you know me, I love to sing on the bus. Not the greatest singer by a long shot. So, I was getting into it thinking Joe was recording me. And at one point, I remember I grabbed the body blade and was using it as a microphone and singing into the phone, thinking that Joe was recording. And then to find out that he was not recording, I have never felt more stupid than I have in that situation. Because I felt like, wow, I'm an idiot. I did that all for nothing.
Do you feel betrayed?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
I thought he was recording, and
I did
that
too.
Was pretty shocking because I've been mad at him for a long time that he stopped the video.
Yes, I agree.
When the bus crashed. And to find out that he wasn't recording the entire time.
Yep.
It's always better if he was recording.
Yeah.
I wish he was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you guys for coming on. Catching the Curveball with Anthony Collazo, and I will see you all next time.